As the United States moved toward civil war, the southern states moved into the secession from their union. On May 6, 1861, Arkansas joined the Confederacy. It was the 10th of 11 states to leave the Union. Uneven lines of loyalty, two divided, heartfelt causes, was about to bring a period of horror to America. Brother against brother, ideals against beliefs, families torn apart, lives and property destroyed. This was the sufferings our ancestors endured. It was a very cold night, and it was pitiful to hear the wounded calling all through the night in the woods, and alone for some water, or something to keep them warm. I hope I never hear such pleadings and witness such sufferings again. Private I.V. Smith, 1st Missouri Confederate Brigade.
My name is Karen, and I call Keokuk, Iowa home. I often visit our Oakland Cemetery, our cemetery to remember those who have passed on before us. One of the graves I visit belongs to Union General Samuel R. Curtis. He lived here in Keokuk and was involved in the Battle of Pea Ridge. Now he is buried here in Oakland Cemetery. I cannot help but think of all the lives taken away from both sides during the Civil War. Why do they call it the Civil War? There was nothing civil about it. Blue, gray, north or south, it was all the same. These men were Americans that fought and died for what they believed in. Such a sadness that I feel here.
The scene is silent and sad. The vulture and the wolf have now the dominion, and the dead friends and foes sleep in the same lonely graves. General Samuel R. Curtis.
On March 7th and 8th, 1862, the Battle of Pea Ridge, also known as the Battle of Elkhorn Tavern, took place during the American Civil War near Lee Town, northeast of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Federal forces led by Brigadier General Samuel R. Curtis moved south from central Missouri, driving Confederate forces into northwestern Arkansas. Major General Earl Van Dorn had launched a Confederate counteroffensive hoping to recapture northern Arkansas and Missouri.
The mighty Mississippi, strong and flowing waters that have history of riverboats and stories like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. The war between the states is one piece of history that is shared by many but remembered by few. Why is history important, you ask? To help answer this question, let's look at two cities in two different states that know about the importance of history. Bentonville, Arkansas, and Keokuk, Iowa. What could these two cities possibly have in common in history? They both share a bloody and tragic battle in 1862, and they know that freedom comes with a price.
Confederate forces met at Bentonville and became the most substantial rebel force by way of guns and men. Against all odds, Curtis held off the Confederate attack on the first day and drove Van Dorn's force off the battlefield on the second. By defeating the Confederates, the Union forces established federal control of most of Missouri and northern Arkansas.
My name is Mark Brown. This is my lovely wife Sharon. The event here is it's complex. There are many elements that are being celebrated here, all tied directly to this river town, Keokuk. It's got an immense history. There are rapids on the river right behind us here, and this ground where this reenactment takes place was also known at one time as Camp Abraham Lincoln, and this was where all of the forces that fought in the Union Army that came in from the state of Iowa had to come to Keokuk and train and get issued and get taken down to the river. They embarked here onto the river and headed south.
My name is Jim Cochran. I'm from Springfield, Illinois. I portray General Earl Van Dorn here in the city of Keokuk. Come out and see us. The last full weekend in April, we will be back in Keokuk.
I portray my great uncle, Prairie Brown, who enlisted with the 2nd Missouri at Pea Ridge, Arkansas.
My name is Carl Gillius. I'm portrayed General Samuel Curtis, who was the commander at the Battle of Pea Ridge. General Curtis was one-time mayor of Keokuk, Iowa, and we're looking forward to having people coming back every year, try to do an accurate portrayal, as accurate as possible. There's units from all over that come, both artillery, infantry, cavalry, and medical.
I'm Dr. John Bonner from Vincent, Iowa. Been reenacting about 15 years, and I portray a surgeon in the 16th U.S. Medical. We do on-the-field activities, and then we do actual demonstrations with stage blood and actual situations after the battle, showing people what occurred at the battle from the cannon and rifle fire.
My name is Charles Cunningham. I play a captain in the Confederate surgeon for the Civil War. Been doing it now for close to 15 years to educate the kids on what tools were used during the Civil War, portray out on the field to make sure no one does get hurt in real emergencies.
My name is Bill Griggs, and I'm a member of the 1st Arkansas Battalion. I'm the Lieutenant Colonel of the battalion.
I am Jim Goldie, and I'm from Harrison, Arkansas. I am a private in Huey's Battery with the Confederate States of America.
My name is Major Douglas Kidd. I'm the commander of the 1st Arkansas U.S. Volunteer Cavalry that was actually raised and comprised of men here in Washington, Madison, and Benton County during the American Civil War.
I'm Stan Prater, Colonel of the Frontier Brigade, and we're here at Bentonville, Arkansas, and we're doing the Battle of Pea Ridge.
Okay, the Battle of Pea Ridge basically freed Missouri from the Confederates.
I'm Kirk Brandenberger, the Tourism Director of the Keokuk Area Convention and Tourism Bureau.
At the request of Mr. Lincoln, America's Brass Band will play Dixie.
time when our country was divided and fighting against itself. It was a time that put brother against brother and friend against friend in a land that needed unification. This is one story that needs to be told of the many battles fought during this horrific time. The war between the states was a time when strong personal beliefs made this nation become the scene for great horrors and loss. Soldiers on both sides fought with uncommon bravery, even when they knew they might not make it to the end of the day. From this war-torn land came some of the most horrible yet important events in the history of our nation. On March 7th and 8th, 1862, 26,000 soldiers fought here to decide the fate of Missouri. The Confederates were eager to return to Missouri so that its star on their flag would have real meaning. Meanwhile, Lincoln wanted to hold as many border states in the Union as possible. The verdict of battle at Wilson's Creek in the summer of 1861 had favored the South. But when Samuel R. Curtis, general, was appointed, he restored Union fortunes. The Confederates used their artillery well and pushed Carr back through successive defense lines, but never took their cohesion and kept on fighting. It was an ominous sign for the tired, ill-supplied Confederates. As the late winter sun sank, the battered Union line was still intact near the Elkhorn Tavern.
Good morning. Welcome to our fourth biannual Civil War reenactment in Bentonville, Arkansas. This year we are commemorating the 145th anniversary of the Battle of Pea Ridge. I am Leah Whitehead. I'm the Executive Director of the Peel House Foundation, the sponsoring organization of this reenactment. It is centered around a beautiful, after the Civil War, mansion that was built by Colonel Samuel W. Peel, who fought in the Civil War. He was at Wilson's Creek, and we would like to invite all of you to come to the Peel Mansion when you're in Bentonville, Arkansas, and we will give you the grand tour and welcome you with open arms. And also, I would like to remind everyone that in Keokuk, Iowa, in April of every year, they too celebrate the Battle of Pea Ridge, which was one of the most important battles west of the Mississippi during the Civil War. And we want very much for particularly tweens and teenagers to pay attention to their history and culture, because things are developing very fast into the 21st century with all the technology, and they sometimes lose what it took to get us to this point.
This was a very bloody fight here at Pea Ridge, and while we're not as big as some of the East Coast battles, we're strategically important. And unfortunately, due to East Coast prejudice, we didn't come apart until 1956, and we didn't open until 1963. But since that time, we have done great strides to restore this battlefield to the way it looked in 1862. We're undergoing a current progress called Progress into the Past. It's a giant program where we are thinning trees, rebuilding fences, marking out homesteads where people would have lived. So people, when they get here, have a better idea of what was here in 1862. They're not just a sterile landscape, but a living landscape, and honoring all those who served here so long ago.
History is important because it is about us, and history reveals how we arrived at this point, and our history is full of fantastic, important stories. These stories have the power to spellbind the listener, if shared in a way that will keep the students on the edge of their chairs, from high school to grade school classes.
Take your seats quickly, please. Okay, let's quiet down. Settle down, will you please? Today we're going to study the American Civil War. It's also known as the War Between the States.
Oh, man.
1862. Yes, Ms. Young?
Are we going to be tested on this?
Yes, we are going to be tested over this. Are there any more important questions, or can I go ahead and proceed? It's a war between the states, but it's also a war between brothers. You have families that are split in half by this war. So in this war between the states, we had Union forces that were moving out of Missouri, and they were driving the Confederates into the northern part of Arkansas in the battle. Miss Young?
Pay attention.
Miss Young, if you're going to be distracted by your illusions, why don't you take them and share them with the people of the office?
You already got me in trouble once. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Ma'am, I am Captain William Holden of the Confederate States of America, and I'm here to help you with your history.
Help me with my history. How are you going to help?
The lives we lived is your history, and you need to understand it.
And understand it? What year do you think it is anyway?
This is 1862.
Wrong. It's 2008. A lot's changed.
I see. Even your wagons have changed.
Wagons? What wagons? Those aren't wagons. Those are cars. Let's go talk someplace else. So tell me something about my history that I don't know.
The Battle of Pea Ridge. It was a skirmish that turned into a major battle when the Confederate forces withdrew into Arkansas.
Wow, they must have had a lot of troops to be able to do that.
Yes, he did. Curtis had over 10,500 troops and 50 artillery pieces. He moved in out of Missouri down to Benton County, Arkansas.
Samuel R. Curtis, didn't he live here?
Not only did he live here, but he's buried here as well. With the Union forces pushed to a little tavern on Telegraph Road during the Battle of Pea Ridge. There was hundreds of lives lost. The Confederacy lost 2,000 in a bloody skirmish. The Union lost 1,400 in a bloody skirmish known now to you as the Battle of Pea Ridge. We knew it as the Battle of Telegraph Road. These men were brothers, they were uncles, they were fathers, cousins, friends of each other's on both sides of the service. They need to be remembered. We need to respect what they had died for. This is why history is so important. Are we going to let these men die and be forgotten? Or are we going to remember these men for what they believed in? This is why history is so important. To remember these men, not to forget them. They aren't just a name. There was a person with that name. A person that was trying to do things.
That's horrible. All those people dying for what they thought was right.
No, it's not what they thought. What they knew was right in their own hearts.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're quite welcome, Miss Young. And remember, these men were brothers, they were uncles, they were fathers, cousins. This is why history is so important.
Union forces in Missouri during the latter part of 1861 and early 1862 had pushed the Confederate Missouri State Guard under Major General Sterling Price out of the state. By spring 1862, Federal Brigadier General Curtis determined to pursue the Confederates into Arkansas with his Army of the Southwest. On March 4, 1862, instead of attacking Curtis's position head-on, Van Dorn split his army into two divisions under Price and McCulloch, ordering a march north along the Bentonville detour to get behind Curtis and cut his lines of communication. For speed, Van Dorn left his supply trains behind, which proved a crucial decision. Amid a freezing storm, the Confederates made a 3-day forced march from Fayetteville through Elm Springs and Osage Spring to Bentonville, arriving stretched out along the road, hungry and tired.